interesting, and I've played, I think, for about like 4.5 hours total. And I mean, spoilers alert, the game came out in 2008, but I just brought the son of the, emperor, back from wherever he was initially. I went to get him, and I just got back. I'm talking to a friend from work about my playthrough, and I had mentioned that I was about 4.5 hours into the game, and only that far into the campaign. And he was like, "What have you been doing?" He was like, "That's like within the first 15 minutes of the story, and you've been playing the game for 4.5 hours." But, I mean, I feel like that's how you're supposed to play these games. Like, I didn't fast travel at all, even though you can, right off the bat. I just walked everywhere. And every time I saw a cave or something cool in the distance, I would go into it. And I feel like that's kind of what these games are about. That's kind of the point. So I try to lean into that when I play. But I fear I leaned a little too far into that. And I, got really bored of, going into a cave, leaving the cave, going 20 steps and there being a new cave, and going into the new cave, so I feel like I almost, ruined it for myself already. But it was a lot of fun while I was playing. I've just been a little busy the past, week or two, so I haven't been able to really play. But I thought, in an effort to get myself to play the game more and learn a little bit more about the game, I could do a ASMR read through of the Wikipedia page for the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Now let's keep in mind, I don't know pretty much anything, so I'm really banking on Wikipedia being a trusted source here. And every part of me is like, every teacher and professor of your entire life has said to go somewhere else, but I'm gonna ignore all of their advice here and trust this blindly as the backstory for the game and a little bit of a summary of what I can expect to see if I play the game. So, why not get right into it? I was going to almost read this part right here first, but then I noticed that it pretty much says it all here. Not really, but yeah, I'm gonna do this first because it's not listing all the people, and I want to read the names for some reason. So the developers, Bethesda Game Studios. Bethesda Game Studios. And the publishers, Bethesda Softworks, 2K, and Ubisoft. With the producer, Ashley Chang. Designer, Ken Rolston. Programmers, Guy Carver and Greg Walton. Artist, Matthew Carofano. Composer, Jeremy Soule. In the series of The Elder Scrolls, on the Game by Brio engine. It's on Windows, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. And it came out March 20th, was at. That's what I was thinking. It's a action role-playing game, and it is single player. So I'm just gonna kind of read through. I don't think it's a super long page. Gives me a bit of a background on the development of the game, the gameplay, a little bit of the plot, and a little bit more of the development. Oh, it even has some audio. A bit of stuff about the remaster. Market and release, okay. So let's jump right into this. The Elder Scrolls Oblivion is a 2006 action role-playing game developed by Bethesda Game Studios and co-published by Bethesda Softworks and 2K Games. It is the fourth installment in the Elder Scrolls series, following 2002's The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Oh my gosh, I can't read. And was released for Microsoft Windows and Xbox 360 in 2006, followed by the PlayStation 3 in 2007. Taking place within the fictional province of Cyrodiil. Jeez. That's like 3 mess-ups in the first paragraph. Come on, man, let's lock in. The game's main story focuses on the player character's efforts to thwart a fanatical cult known as the Mythic Dawn that plans to open portal gates to a demonic realm known as Oblivion. The game continues the open-world tradition of its predecessors by allowing the player to travel anywhere in the game world at any time, and to ignore or postpone the main storyline indefinitely. A perpetual objective for players is to improve their character's skills, which is numerical representations of certain abilities. Early in the game, 7 skills are selected by the player as major skills for their character, with those remaining termed as minor skills. Development for Oblivion began in 2002, directly after the release of Morrowind, opting for tighter pacing in gameplay and greater plot focus than in past titles. To design the graphics, Bethesda used an improved Havoc physics engine, high dynamic range lighting, procedural content generation tools that allowed developers to quickly create detailed terrains, and the Radiant AI system, which enabled non-player characters, or NPCs, to make choices and engage in behaviors more complex than in past titles. The game features fully voiced NPCs, a first for the series, and the music of composer Jeremy Soule, like we had mentioned previously. Upon release, Oblivion was a critical and commercial success, winning a number of industry and publication awards, notably including the Game of the Year award in 2006. It was praised for its impressive graphics, that's funny looking back now, expansive game world, and schedule-driven NPCs, and it's considered one of the greatest games ever made. And I'm sitting here not knowing if I should really play it or not, but Wikipedia is telling me it's one of the greatest games ever played, or made. So what am I doing? Following a number of smaller content releases, Bethesda released 2 expansion packs for the game, Knights of the Nine and Shivering Isles, which were bundled in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Game of the Year edition in 2007, and later re-released as a 5th anniversary edition in 2011. Oblivion was followed by Elder Scrolls V Skyrim in 2011, and a remastered version of Oblivion was released in April of 2025, just last month. I feel like I need to clear my throat, I'm so sorry. Gameplay. Oblivion is an open-world role-playing game, RPG, that incorporates open-ended gameplay. The player can follow side quests, interact with NPCs, dispatch monsters, develop their character, and travel anywhere in the province of Kyrodiil at any time while playing the game, provided that the areas are not quest-specific and otherwise inaccessible when not questing. The game never ends, and the player can continue playing after completing the main quest. The gameplay includes a fast travel system, in which an icon appears on the game world map every time the player visits a new location. This excludes the game's world's main cities, which are already unlocked for fast travel from the start of the game. The player can arrive at the desired location instantaneously by selecting the icon on the map. Now this was something, when I initially played, like I said, I completely avoided. And I don't know, I feel like personally I just like to explore, at least in the beginning. But I do enjoy that they didn't like force you to, like they gave you the option if you really wanted to like just really speed run it. Let's take a look at the interface picture. It's not exactly a large picture by any means. Can I zoom in? Let's zoom in on this super blurry picture of the old UI that I never got to experience. We can see he has sackcloth pants, sackcloth sandals, a sackcloth shirt, and some wrist irons. He looks super strong, ready to take on the world. How do I go back? Whoops. Character development is a primary element of Oblivion. At the beginning of the game, players select one of 10 humanoid or anthropomorphic races, each of which has different natural abilities, and customize their character's appearance. I feel the need to add that in my quick playthrough that I've done, my girlfriend and I spent about 30 to 45 minutes developing an Argonian. And when I say my girlfriend and I mean my girlfriend took over the reins and wouldn't let me adjust anything, but I think she did a wonderful job. And potentially I'll show you in a future video, if I don't just restart, for like an ASMR series type thing. But we'll see how that goes. I have to like find where I was again. I like lost my place. A perpetual objective for players is to improve their character skills, which are numerical representations of their ability in certain areas. I feel like that exact sentence is up above. So we know that the 7 skills are selected. The players level up each time they improve their major skills by a total of 10 points. This provides the opportunity to improve their attributes. And attributes are more broad character qualities such as speed, endurance, skills are more specific, such as armor or athletics. Afflictions such as disease and poison can reduce the player's attributes, and when players reach 25, 50, 75, or 100 points in a single skill, they unlock new abilities related to the skill. I just punched my microphone. I hope that wasn't too loud. The game's 21 skills fall evenly under the categories of combat, magic, and stealth, and many skills complement more than one area. Combat skills are used primarily for battle and incorporate armor and heavy weapons like blades, axes, maces, and hammers. Magic skills rely on the use of spells to alter the physical world, to affect the minds of others, to injure and debilitate enemies, to summon monsters to help fight, and to heal wounds. Stealth skills allow the player to crack locks, haggle for goods, use speech to manipulate people, and apply cunning in combat through the use of a bow or with a sneak attack. Sneak attack. Sneak attack. The spells, weapons, and other tools such that a player needs to employ and enhance these skills, such as lockpicks, can be purchased in shops, stolen from NPCs, or found as loot on the bodies of foes or in dungeons. Oblivion can be played in either a first or third-person view, except in the mobile phone version, in which the game can only be played in isometric projection. Isometric projection. Isometric projection. The player may change the level of difficulty at any time, thereby weakening opponents and increasing the chances of success for particular actions. I think I saw on a video that I was watching, I think by Phase Jeff, where he had said changing the difficulty just gave the opponents more health and nothing else. Like, it didn't actually change how the AI would do things, it would just increase how long and how many times you would have to punch it, essentially. Which, like, is a little disappointing, but you have to remember this game came out in 2006. So, I feel like, you know, at a certain point, maybe you're expecting too much of an older game. Or maybe not, I don't know. The screen constantly presents a heads-up display, which provides information about the character's health, magicka, and fatigue, all of which can be increased by leveling up. Health can be restored by spells, potions, or resting. The loss of all health results in death. Magicka enables and is depleted by the use of spells. It is rejuvenated naturally over time, but it can be restored similarly to health. Fatigue affects the player's effectiveness in combat and general efficiency, and can be alleviated by resting, potions, and spells. Throughout the world, there are a variety of enemies, including standard fantasy monsters such as imps and goblins, and animals such as bears and wolves. Enemies become stronger, and weapons and armor more effective as the player levels up. This game mechanic of level scaling was incorporated to maintain a constant and moderate aspect of difficulty. However, level scaling combined with the leveling system has received criticism, as it has the potential to unbalance the game. Characters with major skills that increase on an involuntary basis, such as athletics or armor, can find that they level too quickly, making the enemies proportionately harder than intended. So I guess that's a little bit of that character flaw. The plot. Before I start, I just need a sip of water. A sip of water. A sip of water. I feel like in my first video I mentioned my mouth getting dry. And like, I think it's literally at the same timestamp, 20 minutes in. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. This, like, whispering for this long does put like a strain on your voice. It's kind of crazy. Maybe I'm just weak. Oblivion is set during the Third Era, 6 years after the events of Elder Scrolls III Morrowind, although it is not a direct sequel to it or any other game. The game is set in Cyrodiil, a province of Tamriel. I really hope I'm saying Cyrodiil right. Jeez, that would be so embarrassing. The continent on which all of the games in the series have so far taken place. The story begins with the player imprisoned in a cell for an unknown crime. Emperor Uriel Septim, Patrick Stewart, it's voiced by Patrick Stewart, that's crazy, accompanied by Imperial bodyguards, known as the Blades, arrives in the prison, fleeing from assassins who have murdered the Emperor's 3 sons and are now targeting him. The Emperor and the Blades reveal that the player's jail cell contains a secret entrance to a part of the city's sewer that functions as an escape route. Pardoned by the Emperor, the player follows the group into the sewer, where they come under attack by assassins. The Blades' captain is cut down during the fight that ensues. Knowing he is destined to die by the hands of the assassins, Uriel Septim entrusts the player with the Amulet of Kings, sworn by the Septim Emperors of Tamriel, and orders the player to take it to a man named Ralph Kosham, the Grand Master of the Blades, at Waynon Priory. Immediately afterward, one of the assassins kills the Emperor. Spoiler alert. The player escapes the sewer and heads out into the open world of Cyrodiil. I have to say, when I was playing through that part of the game, it was quite enjoyable, and I had taken the Captain of the Blade's sword, the katana, and I was so heartbroken when they took it back from me, and they were like, thank you for grabbing this for us. And then he just took it. I really wanted to keep using it. The lack of an heir for Uriel Septim is broken. An old covenant. The barrier of Oblivion, a dangerous realm that is in another dimension. Multiple gates to Oblivion open, and an invasion of Tamriel begins by magical creatures known as Daedra, killing and destroying anything in their path. Joffrey tells the player that the only way to close the gates permanently is to find someone of the royal bloodline to retake the throne and relight the dragon fires with the Amulet of Kings in the Imperial City. However, there is an illegitimate son named Martin. I really thought the name Martin was super funny, 'cause like everyone's names are like older. Like we have Menkar Cameron down here. We have Uriel Septim. We have Joffrey, and then we just got Marvin. And he is a priest in the city of Kvatch. Upon arriving to Kvatch, the player finds that the Daedra have destroyed the city, and very few survivors remain. A massive Oblivion gate is obstructing the main city entrance, and the player must venture through the gate into the Deadlands, one of the planes of Oblivion, in order to close it from the inside and allow access to the city. After closing the gate, the player enters Kvatch and takes it back from the Daedra with the assistance of surviving guardsmen. Martin has survived, and the player persuades him to come to Wainenprior. I feel like they say Wainenprior, not Priory, in the game, but maybe I'm remembering wrong and I'm making a fool of myself. I feel like they said Wainenprior in the game. Maybe that's just like how you're supposed to read it, and I'm just bad at reading. The player, now recognized as the hero of Kvatch, and of course, my apartment's fan just turned on. I hope that's not too loud in the background. The player, now recognized as the hero of Kvatch, returns to Wainenprior with Martin, finding that it has come under attack by assassins and that the Amulet of Kings has been stolen. I did find it a little stupid that we left it with Joffrey. I mean, like, I know he's the leader of the Blades and he's to be trusted. At least, that's what I'm assuming, because that's what I know. But, like, I feel like we should have kept it on ourselves. The player escorts Joffrey and Martin to Cloud Ruler Temple, the stronghold of the Blades in Cyrodiil. There, Martin is recognized as the Emperor and is given command of the Blades. The player is optionally entered into their ranks and sets off in search of the amulet. I think this is kind of where I had stopped. Because I had done most of my exploring on the way there and back, with Martin and Joffrey. And I did join their ranks. I don't know if that's something I should or should not have done, but I joined. And I think it's funny because I'm kind of doing a little bit more of a mage build. So I found it kind of ironic that I'm in the Blades, and I'm not really a blade user. Like I have a short sword at the moment, but After gathering information, the player learns that the group responsible for Auriel Septim's assassination and the theft of the amulet are the Mythic Dawn, a cult dedicated to worshipping the Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric Prince of Destruction. Prince of Destruction. The cult believes Dagon is the true creator of the world and wish for him to cleanse it of all of its impurities. Killing the Emperor and thus removing the barriers to Oblivion was the first step in realizing this idea. The player attempts to infiltrate the secret meeting place of the cult in the hopes of retrieving the amulet. When the player does so, the cult's leader, Mankar Cameron, so it's like a demon's name I was referencing earlier, so I guess that's not super normal. Terrence Stamp escapes through a portal, taking the amulet with him. Spoiler alert to myself. The player takes the book that had opened the portal to Martin, who deduces a way to reopen the portal. The player seeks out 3 key artifacts necessary to recreate the portal. A Daedric artifact, the blood of the Divines, in this case, the armor of the First Septim Emperor serves as a substitute, and a great, well-kinned stone. With all 3 retrieved, Martin reveals that a final ingredient is needed. Of course he does. A great sigil stone, from inside a great gate similar to the one that devastated Kvatch. Martin and Joffrey decide to allow the city of Bruma to be attacked by Daedra so that a great gate would be opened. So they just said, all these people that live here, bye-bye. I mean, unless they evacuated it like smart people. But I feel like maybe they wouldn't attack if they evacuated it, you know? Once it is, the player obtains the stone and closes the gate, also saving Bruma. I mean, I don't know if we can say that we saved Bruma when we set them up to die. But moving forward, a portal is created at Cloud Ruler Temple, and the player is sent through the Mankar Cameron's created realm of Paradise. After bypassing Daedra, Mythic Dawn members, and obstacles, the player confronts Cameron and kills him. The player returns the Amulet of Kings to Martin, and they subsequently travel to the Imperial City with the blades to relight the dragon fires and end the Daedric invasion. They find the city under attack by Daedra and an enormous avatar of Mehrunes Dagon himself. The player and Martin fight their way to the Temple of the One. There, Martin laments that they are powerless against Dagon's avatar, and explains that they can only defeat him one way. He bids farewell to the player and shatters the Amulet of Kings, merging himself with the spirit of Akatosh, the dragon god of time, thus becoming Akatosh's avatar. That's crazy. Self-sacrifice. After a battle, Akatosh casts Dagon back into Oblivion and lets out a mighty roar before turning to stone. Martin, whose soul was consumed by the amulet, enters the afterlife to join his forebears. In a telepathic monologue to the player, he sheds an optimistic light, explaining that while the Amulet of Kings is destroyed and the throne lies again empty, the gates of Oblivion are now shut forever, and the future of Tamriel now lies in the player's hands. The Emperor's High Chancellor sincerely thanks the player for their service during the crisis, and proclaims them as the 7th champion of Cyrodiil. Now, I mean, that sounds very enjoyable. It doesn't sound super long. I think I saw on Steam it said it was like a 15 hour storyline. And I mean, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I don't want a super long game, and that'll kind of help me get into it more. Who knows? I mean, I'm definitely sold. It sounds very fun. And from what I was playing with the remaster, it feels very nice. I think, like, the one thing I would complain about is the combat. But, like, remember, it's from 2006. And, I mean, the combat feels, at least pretty similar to Skyrim without doing Skyrim a disservice, you know? So, I don't think it's too bad. But I think after this, I'm quite excited to see a little bit more. I wonder if in the additional content there's like pictures or no. That's fine. I mean, we don't really need pictures. I'll just play the game next video and then you can see it. How about that? That sounds like a swell idea to me. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming along and learning a little bit more about The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion with me, and for potentially getting just as excited as I am now becoming for the game. It was definitely fun when I had started it, and I think after this I'm a little bit more intrigued. So I definitely want to give it another try and kind of like actually dive into the story. And maybe if I do that, I'll have a little bit more fun than just mindlessly wandering like I always do. So thank you, thank you, thank you for watching, for listening, and for joining me. I hope that you got some ASMR, some tingles, and some enjoyment, entertainment out of this video. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Good night.